Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, as you may already have guessed. And as you can see from this video, it's about Jay-Z's latest record, 444. Now, I have not listened to the album yet. I'm going to be listening to the album. I plan on doing a review of this album, but I wanted to talk about the rollout of this record, the access people have to this record, because if you didn't know already, Jay-Z is streaming this album exclusively, of course, on his Tidal platform, which I'm just going to lay an opinion on right here. I think it's a terrible idea, frankly. It just seems like it's purely an ego move. It looks like a business move from the outside, but I don't know if the numbers are really going to pan out in Jay-Z's favor in the long run, because really at the end of the day, what makes music successful in 2017, what gets music spreading in 2017, what makes money in music in 2017 is access. People need to be able to hear something in order to stream it, in order to share it with other people, in order to start a conversation about it, in order for it to kind of catch on virally like wildfire, because right now the popularity of music has been democratized. And when you put an album, when you put a song, when you put a music video, when you put any piece of music in a situation where it's going to be limited, access is limited, fewer people can hear it, it's harder to share it. There's only a select few of people who can get access to a particular thing, even if that access is just simply, passed by with a paywall. Obviously not the hardest thing to get around, but still, it is a limitation. There are other streaming services out there, and there are other albums out there that people are frankly, interested in hearing, more interested in hearing. More interested in using, as far as streaming platforms, to kind of reference back to that. Jay-Z kind of seems like he's sitting simply on the fact that, he has a passionate fan base. Doesn't seem like he really cares about reaching out to anybody who is sort of outside of the realm of the ultimate Jay-Z fan who's going to want to hear this regardless, no matter where it is. There are people who are Jay-Z fans who, if you release this album on the fucking moon, they would make sure that they got up there to hear it, But sorry, sometimes I just make myself laugh. Obviously, there are going to be Jay-Z fans who, there will be no paywall that can stop them. But ultimately, I feel like he's just kind of shooting himself in the leg here. From the standpoint of, you have an album coming out and you want as many people to hear it. You want as many people to hear it. You want it to catch on. You want it to be the biggest splash, as far as a release. If that's what you're going for, if that's what you're looking for, which in my opinion, as a musician, should be your goal, that's obviously what he's not doing here. He's shooting himself in the foot. Clearly what he cares about more is bolstering Tidal subscriptions. Clearly what he cares about more is bolstering his image as a businessman. Like, hey, it's all in-house over here. I have my own album. I have my own streaming service that I put it on. It seems like he cares more about bolstering that image than he does care about sort of doing numbers, sort of like with his last record where, he had that sort of little racket going where his album was purchased, pre-release. So already it was like, did numbers, it seems like Jay-Z cares more about gaming the system and keeping up this image of success than he actually cares about actually like putting out a legit record that's going to be successful simply on the merits of it's great and people are sharing it, people are talking about it, people are, buying into it because they really care about it and they really want to listen to it. How many Jay-Z fans are still listening to his last album? I mean, to be completely honest, I did like some tracks on it, but I'm not listening to that thing. I don't think I've listened to that since I reviewed it, like maybe not even once. So, I just think it's a really bad move. I think it's a really bad move, and I think it just signifies, again, the fact that Jay-Z doesn't have confidence in his own music to sort of get out there and compete on the music market like any other album would, which is kind of ridiculous because the thing is, you're Jay-Z. You have such a huge brand name. If you came out with a legitimately great record, like, there should be no reason for it to not be successful because you have that name recognition, you have that brand, you have that history, you have that built-in fan base that younger artists who are coming up with viral success don't have yet. They're throwing their music out there, just kind of into the ether and just kind of, risking, failure or success. It seems like Jay-Z is unwilling to do the same thing. He's unwilling to take the same risk. And we're kind of like giving him a pass because he's a businessman and it's his own streaming service. No, I mean, essentially he's using his industry cred. He's using his industry notoriety, and he's using his money to sort of shield himself from that sort of perception of failure that other artists have to be subjected to in the modern musical age, but apparently not him. Again, it could work out, in Jay-Z's favor in terms of the numbers. Will he be getting way more money off of Tidal streams than he would if he had the album streaming on Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, and every other streaming service out there? I don't know. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what the numbers are afterwards. We're just going to have to, see if that pans out. But in my opinion, it's probably not going to happen, because as we've seen in the past, artists who do have an incredible amount of success, a big brand name, maybe not as big as Jay-Z's and certainly not as much history as Jay-Z. People like Frank Ocean, for example, afterwards, they kind of regret a little bit doing that exclusive deal because they see that in the long run that they didn't get as many streams as they would have otherwise. Sure, they might have gotten that check or they might have gotten that, that sort of payment for that exclusivity right off the bat, either the artist or the label or both. But, in the long run, they sort of realized it was probably better to have this be sort of like widely accessible to everybody. Then I might have sort of had more people talking about it. I would have had more people listening to it. I would have had more people, having access to it. And, honestly, if you're a musician, that should be your primary goal. You make music for an audience of people to hear it. To put it on a place like Tidal and exclusively put it on Tidal just kind of seems like a purposeful limitation. And, especially in the case of a guy like Jay-Z who owns the streaming service that he's putting it exclusively on, it just kind of seems like he's blatantly kind of just squeezing his fans for, every penny he can. Which again, he's a businessman and that's his right. And if his fans pay for it, they pay for it. There's nothing wrong with, selling something to people. But the thing is, like, this just seems like trying to take the new way of things and trying to force it into or making it adhere to an older model. I get it that Jay-Z comes from a world where if you wanted to hear something, you had to pay for it. It's not like today where if you want to own something, you have to pay for it. Listening is free. Back in the day, if you wanted to have something, if you wanted to hear something as well, you had to pay for it. And it seems like, he's kind of still stuck in that mindset. And that's just not how music is in 2017. I mean, I get that mindset. I get that point of view. I come from that mindset. I grew up, if I wanted to hear something, I had to pay for it. That was how things were. I get it. I understand. I came from that place. But the thing is, like, you have to kind of evolve with the times. And there's no amount of money or success or relevancy in the music industry that sort of shields you from that makes you exempt from that, in my opinion. And that, those are essentially my thoughts here. Over there, next to my head, somewhere on the screen, is another video on this channel that you should check out. Thank you for watching. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this whole thing about Jay-Z's new album here, about him putting out exclusively on Tidal. And that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Forever.